Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series, the Unported Playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're doing a revisit, because over 3 years ago I looked at Chase HQ 2, the sequel to the original Chase HQ from Taito and Gamewax, and I figured no one remembers that video whatsoever, and I love this game so much we're going to check back in on it. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, it definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you don't know, Chase HQ has been a long-running series for Taito. You have SCI, Criminal Chase, all of the different Chase HQ games, and this is the last game in the franchise as of the making of this video. Oh, how I wish they'd give us another one, but I'm guessing that's not going to happen. So the premise of this game is absolutely simple. You are racing, you are trying to catch up to a criminal. Once you catch up, you need to ram into their car until they take enough damage for them to be arrested. It is the most simple premise on paper, but in execution, picking a clean racing line and being able to navigate all the hazards in the world while also trying to take down the criminal within the time limit is a very difficult thing to do. But the great part is this game is so insanely fun and over the top, you have an absolute blast playing it whether you're succeeding or whether you're using continues. The nice thing is you don't need to do a clean run. If you use a continue, you start right where you left off. But you'll see we've already taken the first enemy down, and we get these hilarious FMV cutscenes pre-rendered in between. And we get a little result screen showing us how we race during that particular level. In between each level you have these different FMV sequences that are all in Japanese, but they feature a British glamour model who I had no idea who she was until I looked it up, and apparently she has a propensity for her clothes just to mysteriously fall completely off her. Do with that as you will. But as we get into the second stage right here, this game is just pure arcade racing fun. From start to finish, all you need to do is drive forward, never touch the brakes, and ram into your opponent. This game does have a brake as far as controls are concerned. I've never once gone anywhere near it, even when I plow into oncoming traffic. But the best part about Chase HQ 2 is just how over the top it truly is. We're driving through train tunnels or driving through cafes, on highways, jumping our car in and out of traffic. There's always something going on and always something to do, and from start to finish this game takes about 14 minutes to complete, which I actually love because not every single day do I have multiple hours to sink into a video game, so something like Chase HQ 2 within 15 minutes totally satisfies my need to play a video game without picking up my phone for that bite-sized gaming morsel I'm looking for. Now this originally ran on the Taito Type X hardware, but this does emulate perfectly fine via Windows and Teknoparrot how I'm playing it now, although I do have Taito Type X and X2 hardware underneath my desk because I do this voiceover. Wiring up driving controls takes an absolute metric ton amount of time, and it is one of those things I only reserve for special occasions. You will see I took the first continue right there, and it gives us a new accoutrement of turbo as well as more time, and I was able to beat the enemy right after that timer ran out, which seems to be a trend in this game. It gives you just enough time to almost be able to beat the driver in front of you, but then you need to take a continue before you see that final results screen. But this game is just such an over-the-top arcade experience. It's the type of game that I love and wish we got more of, especially this third track right here. We're driving the wrong way on a NASCAR oval with oncoming traffic, and all we need to do is hit the opponent, but weaving in and out of this traffic, trying to find a clean racing line and trying to manage those turbos to get closer to our opponent is really strategically involved. And that's the great thing about a game like this. At first value, it seems like it's such a simple thing to do. Drive and hit your opponent, but once you actually understand each course, the shortcuts in your driving line, there's actually a lot of strategy, and this could be an awesome game to basically do time attacks on or even speed runs. It has a lot of depth even though it looks so simple off the top. I keep saying it's arcade pick up and play action, and that is true, but it's also a game that the more you learn about it, the more it asks of you, and the better you can become. And that's always what I want in a video game, especially on an unported playlist. Something that's easy to start playing and something that you can play time after time and have an absolute blast. But you'll see here we've taken down our opponent, and the other part about this game that I love so much is it's got a really good soundtrack with some fun voice acting, although it is in Japanese. So go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds or so, and I'll come back and tell you more about the history of the game. But enjoy! It's definitely a cheesy rock soundtrack, but it 100% works for what's going on in front of you. It's fast-paced, it's in your face, there's always something to see and do, and the game's always asking something new of you, which is great from a progression standpoint because each level gets progressively harder. On this one, if you can't tell already, we have a tractor-trailer truck that has a missile launcher on the back, so now we don't only have to worry about our racing line and dodging oncoming traffic, we also have to worry about avoiding missiles while we do it. And this game's final level is very cruel. You get one chance to strike your opponent's car. If you do, you get the good ending, and if you fail, you get the bad ending. So you have to wait till the end of the video to see how I did. But honestly, this is just an absolute blast of a game. It might be called a Taito game, but it was developed by Gamewax, which makes a lot of Taito's arcade games, and they usually do a pretty good job, even though they're considered probably a B-tier developer. But they did an absolute amazing job on Chase HQ 2. It takes everything from the original sprite scaling series and turns it into a fully 3D game with the same intensity that you used to know and love on those 2D efforts. I really wish we could get something like this in VR. Give us a Chase HQ 3 Taito. I will buy it twice to help you guys out budgetarily. But the one thing that is a little bit unfair about this game is that the continue definitely makes it easier. Sure, you're going to be able to see the credits, but it's definitely a pay-to-win situation until you learn it, because the minute you restart, you get plenty of time, you get extra turbos, and you can defeat the enemy for basically just putting another dollar in the cabinet, which I can't blame them. It's not a long game, they want you to see the ending, but it definitely, when you're playing it, gives you a little less challenge than you would like to have. But what I do is basically put 3 credits into the machine, and then if I don't beat the game by then, I turn it off and come back another day, artificially limiting myself. And I'm really not sure what happened there. I jumped a car into a highway sign. I don't think that's supposed to happen. But these are the type of games that I've loved in arcades in the 90s and 2000s, and games that I wish we got more of. It is so simple to understand. Hit the gas, grab your nitro, use your nitro at the right time, and plow into something with your car at full speed. Now when you get a racing game, there's so many different career modes and modifications. You spend more time thinking about playing the game than you actually do playing it in some instances. And that's why I've loved the arcade racer and why I wanted to revisit Chase HQ 2. It gives me everything I want in a video game. In 15 minutes or less, I feel satisfied with what I've done, and I get to move on with my day. And the game slots in so well for my interest levels. It's basically Thrill Drive meets Burnout done by Taito, and it works. And those are some of my favorite racing games of all time, and some of my best viewed videos on the channel as far as arcade racing games are concerned. So if you like Thrill Drive, you're going to absolutely love Chase HQ 2. It's not as over-the-top dramatic. There's no fatalities while you're driving, but it gives you the same level of intense racing action with all those consequences, except from a different developer. I'm going to give you one more taste of the soundtrack before I finish up the video, because I got a lot more history about Chase HQ to tell you, but go ahead and listen to some more rock music, because it's definitely a 10 out of 10. It works for the game, but enjoy it, and I will be right back. The music's great. It's got that cop chase movie thing going on. This is basically Bullet the game, and I'm surprised they've never actually made a Bullet game, or maybe they have. I'd have to look that up after the voiceover, not popping into my head, so I'm sure I'll see some comments down below. But this is the final level. You get one chance to hit that helicopter. If you miss it, the game ends, you get the bad ending, and you need to replay the entire thing. I'm not sure why they thought this was a good idea, because I don't think anyone was going to play it a second time to see the good ending, because like any arcade game, ending doesn't matter. But luckily I had a good trajectory. I was able to jam the car right into that helicopter, and somehow we land perfectly fine. We're able to arrest the person in the helicopter. I would have assumed it would have been a gigantic explosion with multiple fatalities, but in Chase HQ 2 it just works. And this, is like I said, is the last game in the Chase HQ franchise as of today. There's so many amazing games here. Just look up Chase HQ, go on the Wikipedia page and see what you've missed, because if you haven't played them, they're amazing. And I love that most people in this game get at least 5 years in prison, if not a life sentence. I'm not even really sure what they did. They just ran away from the cops. But that's Chase HQ 2. I covered it like 3.5 years ago. But it is so good, I wanted to touch base on it again. And of course I get the name entry screen, and what else can we do but be a little bit immature? It's what we did when we were kids, so I may as well keep the tradition alive. But leave me a comment down below, tell me if you ever played the game. I'll be back with more imported soon, and we are done. Bye bye.